ask me often, well, what can we do? And I always say, you know, the thing you can do first is care, because that is a measure of who we are as human beings. And I'll tell you that in Pakistan, we found a 19-year-old girl named Asiya, who, because she married for love, her mother-in-law and father-in-law did not accept her. The man whose family she married into did not accept her because they wanted an arranged marriage for their son. And so when she became pregnant with her first child, and she was about to deliver it in this male-dominated society, she was not allowed to go to the hospital without her mother-in-law's permission. There was another factor, which is that they were from a poor family. It would cost $3 to get to the hospital, cab ride. And her mother-in-law didn't give it and didn't give her permission to go to the hospital. 4 days of labor later, they finally concluded she should go to the hospital. Her aunt, I'm not sure yet on which side of the family this aunt was, but on one side of the family there was an aunt who gave her the $3. She went to the hospital. At this point, she was in very bad shape. The baby was born alive, blue, and it subsequently died. It was a boy. And if the family that had not allowed her to go to the hospital had known it was a boy, they would have let her go to the hospital sooner. This is an example of the value of women compared to boys in a part of the world, and it meant a tremendous amount of suffering that didn't have to happen. Women die in childbirth in the world, and not just because of a lack of medical resources. It's about your fundamental value and your powerlessness, or powerlessness really, over your life. I think this is something that would be shocking to almost anyone. And it's not the only story I could tell you now that would shock you. But whatever emotions you feel in hearing it is a measure of your humanity. It's a measure of all of our humanity as we move forward. And so you should know about it. At the least, you should care about it. And giving voice to them. You see, the civil rights movement would never have been successful had it not been for the fact that people outside of a place felt outrage about something happening in a place that they knew but didn't really see. It was because of journalism that Martin Luther King had an opportunity to be heard. I believe that whoever you are, if you have an outrage or a story that needs to be heard, I don't care if you're the biggest fish or the smallest fish, you have a right to be heard because you were part of humankind. And I think that is what we need to do. I think that that's what we need to do. Because, and it's remarkable, you know, how we change. It's not my job to change you. It's your job to change you. When you feel or think something based on something you see, you're going to change it. It's happened time and time and time again. But my job is to not let you be ignorant, because knowledge is power. A woman in Middle America who has 3 children who have had, all of whom have debilitating illnesses. They were born in a multiple birth, and all of them are in a very bad way, wheelchairs, and they're going to get worse. Then she gets breast cancer. Then she falls and breaks her arm, and her whole community says, okay, that's it. And so they not only rally around her and bring her food and all that kind of stuff while she's going through chemotherapy, they move her out of her house, and because whatever that home improvement makeover thing doesn't choose that family, they decide to do it. They get donated goods and they remodel her house so that there is physical therapy for her kids downstairs. There's a special room for her. I mean, they do everything you see like on the TV shows, but it's the community that does it. But that's not the end of the story. We haven't put this on the air yet, but I'll tell you, they brought her in, they opened that, they were all crying and all of it. And then I interviewed the people who did this, and I said, I found out that he's going through divorce. Both of them, the couple, just both of them lost their job, and they don't know if they're going to be able to keep their house. This guy over here has got a child with severe disabilities, and they're struggling to keep their business. And this story goes on. And I said, well, why did you do this? You needed help yourself. And one of them said it quite succinctly. He said, we needed her more than she needed us.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what that means? We needed to feel good more, in doing this good for her, more than she even needed us, with breast cancer and kids who are dying and all that, and chemotherapy and all that. And I interview Angelina Jolie about her humanitarian work, or Brad Pitt about his movies, or his work in New Orleans, or the woman Nadia Suleiman, who is now dubbed the Octomom. I wish people cared as much about the other kinds of things that we report about, because that's what really matters. But you know, if it means that people, if I've developed a reputation that people might feel that they can trust me, or might be slightly interested in what I report about, and that might give them space to listen to some of these other stories, then okay, I think that's worth it. I can tell you this, no one thought that anyone would watch the stories about Darfur the first time I went. And I'll tell you that during the first story that ran, during it, the numbers went up.
Mm.
I know that Americans care, but sometimes they have to sort of, especially in these days, when there's so much that distracts us, sometimes, you know, they need a little turning signal to know that that's a direction they should go in. And maybe that's what I am, is the turning signal.